Two, one. Once again, we are back with the Artist and the Thinker podcast, season 3, by the way. And who am I here with today?
L Sweets, aka the artist.
And I am Terrence B, the Thinker. We've been gone for a minute, but what a perfect way to come back. We're back at it once again. I want to thank y'all for just tuning in. First and foremost, how we gonna start this one off, Sweets? How we gonna set this one off?
So a lot of people probably already know now. There are a good amount of people who aren't surprised by the current events that took place. And then you have some who's like, well, about time, and then you have some who I guess are shocked. I don't know why, but are.
That shocks me.
Elon Elon Musk and Trump are currently in a battle, a war within each other on Twitter. I still call it Twitter, but we know it as X. And they are saying a lot of things. Well, let's say Musk is saying was throwing out a lot of allegations, ones that we already knew, like people who really understood a lot when it comes to the Epstein list knew Trump's name was on it. And known that there were a lot of fabricated lists to make it seem like there were a whole bunch of Democrats or leftists, whatever you want to call it, all you celebrities, all of these. Not saying they weren't, but like all of these people were on this list and they were excluding him when he is one of the number one filmed, because I've seen films with him with him and pictures with Epstein, when a lot of people you named were nowhere near him. So basically, Musk made the statement that the real bombshell is the reason why it hasn't been released is because his name was on it, which makes a lot of sense given that when everything first went down was in his first presidency. And I mean, he is the one who has more allegations and actually has paid off a lot of victims for different things. But that's not the meat and potatoes of this discussion. That was one of the tweets that he put out. Another tweet he put out was about who really won the election, or how he basically helped him win the election. It was very specific in how numbers should have came out for Republicans versus Democrats in the Congress or the House. I might be wrong. So with
Us sitting here telling you we told you so,
yeah,
just wouldn't quite say it. Just saying. I'm just putting it out there, Sweets. Put it out there for him.
but when it comes to everything that's happening, anyone that knows one thing about narcissists or villains, they can only villain together but so long before their egos get in the way of each other. I mean, it's basic superhero and villain knowledge. Think about it. The bad guys get together, eventually one of them screws the other one over. So this was bound to happen, but the real reason, because this doesn't mean that Musk is an ally because he's against that big old beautiful bill, is because he realizes he's about to lose a lot of money because we have been giving him digital currency that actually makes more for him than him selling his cars. So he is not liking the fact that his stuff is going to be cut. Now, the reality is a lot of the stuff in that big old bill screws over the regular average day Americans. And I mean in a bad way, cutting a lot of funding for things. I mean, the list can go on of so many things is actually in that plan, and that's one reason why Elon really wants to not let it go through, and that's why he's threatening politicians by saying Trump's old and he only has 3.5 years in office when he knows he's going to be around for another 40 years. So he's letting them know you guys better not pass it because he can line their pockets a lot longer than Trump can be in office. Then you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is just a big distraction." So here's my thing about people making
Distraction.
statements about something being a
Oh,
distraction. It's hard to be a distraction if people think it's a distraction.
sorry about that. My
It's
TV.
hard to be a distraction when if you know it's a distraction, you're gonna look other ways, regardless if it's a quote unquote distraction or not. It is very entertaining. And when it comes to revising of the bill, they're not gonna be able to pass it. They have a deadline of like 2 months. It's actually gonna take them a lot longer to pass it. So it's not like they're trying to pass it overnight. Because I know some people think that. Um, and I mean, I honestly believe that this is really happening. It's really happening. They are going back and forth. Um, I mean, because of course, now Trump's saving his face. He said, "I asked him to leave," or he knew exactly what the plan was, and yada yada yada. So there is a lot going on there. That's what I would say.
First rule, first and foremost, is that one, you never go at a man that knows where all your bodies are buried. You know what I'm saying? You can't, and you know that you can't, like, shut them up, and you can't because you make it too obvious. And so I'm looking at, mind you, we did talk about this in our politics per usual episodes, in our America Has a Problem episode, and all of these episodes, we kept telling you what's gonna happen. And I've always told you about Trump's mentality. What have I always said? I said Trump is a man that uses people for his initiatives. And once he's done with you, you get thrown to the wayside. That's something that he's always been. And this is the result of that. I was like, and if you think Elon Musk can't get hit the same way, keep watching. I did say this. I said, keep watching because now you have, and everybody saying, well, this is a dictatorship. I was like, technically, it's not. I know it feels like it because of the choices that have been made and decisions that have been made. But the only reason that it's not a full on dictatorship at this moment is because we have people in the Congress and in the Senate that are literally fighting tooth and nail and like saying no. Because at the end of the day, it's got to go through these things in order to be passed. And then you have idiots who are actually reading the bill and having no clue that stuff is in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You have idiots that are sitting there and don't know that there's nothing in it. That like how can you read a document and not know it fully before signing before voting on it? That's what doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, so you over here voting on these situations that affect the lives of millions of people. And you're telling me that none of these people are not even reading the stuff? And this is just stuff that I've been looking at, excluded from what Sweets has sent me. And I'm like, you mean to tell me y'all just sitting here signing? And this goes to show you about putting people in office that don't know, have a clue what they're doing. They don't have a clue of anything that they're doing because they're
Mm-hmm.
sitting here signing on a bill that you haven't even thoroughly looked through. Y'all just a whole bunch of yes men. And this is what you get.
Mhm.
But I'll say it once, I say it again. I said Elon Musk is not excluded from being used like everybody else that Trump has used. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He's not excluded. The only difference is that Musk knows where most of the bodies are buried. Actually, he knows where a lot of them are.
Mhm.
And so this is the thing. I was like, Trump, you're trying to use the same usual equation with people that like, dude, who you talking to? I know all your bodies are buried, homie. What are you
Mhm.
and like, what are you gonna do? I knew when stuff got real when Trump had him leave the White House. Because remember, he had an office in the White House or what have you.
Mhm.
And Trump had him leave it. And he was like across the street. I was like, well, here it go. I was like, here's the start. And then look where we are. And I was like, it's kind of futuristic, like us just telling like prophecy about a lot of things. And for people that,
Mhm.
for y'all people out there that are sitting there saying, oh, I had no clue. I didn't know. I didn't think he would. Us that got sense, we looking at you like this. You didn't know. You didn't know. Clearly, you didn't know because you're signing off on bills that you haven't even fully read. And so Elon Musk, I think, came to the realization, and this is just me, what I think is going on. Elon Musk came to the realization that this quote unquote tariff war that Trump has going on, which is why this doesn't work in the first place, because you cause a war that you know doesn't benefit anybody. And if anybody paid attention to history, knows that this is why we don't have tariff wars. And I was like, Elon Musk, all the partners that he works with, that he collabs with, now he can't, because of this tariff war stuff, now it's messing up relationships.
Mhm.
And in his business, relationships are key, right?
Mhm.
So you messing up I was like, you letting this dude that you work with mess up the relationships, but yet you sat there and let him do it. You try to guide him or strategize around it or try to change it up. And I was like, dude, you trying to do stuff that history has shown does not work. And nobody stopped to think for him to say, nah, man, you do know that it's not, we are not like in a position to do that. Cause you see China, they said we ain't got no American meat here. We went right to Australia
Mhm.
and got it for cheap. And I was like, it's showing America's true colors in the sense that y'all not as strong of a power as you think you are. And just because Trump says that everything is great and everything's moving forward does not mean that it is realistic and solid. It does not mean that it is. Don't believe everything that you read. Think, people. It's not illegal yet. As I've always told you guys, shout out to Eddie Griffin. But think, it's not illegal. And like, we're gonna see what happens, but and let's not forget how soon we forget this dude is a felon in one of the highest positions in the United States.
Mhm.
Let's not forget the elephant in the room. He's a felon. That everybody's now starting to come to the realization, hey, these numbers weren't right. You think? Me and Sweets called that from Jump Street. Especially when you called me on voting night. Sweets called me on voting night, y'all, right? And we was just doing it state by state, seeing what the numbers were. We was in the blue. Here in North Carolina, blue. All the way. We had a couple of red spots here and there, but it was blue. And wake up the next morning, I don't know how, never been red. What? And me and Sweet was even like, that don't make sense. Because she stayed up longer than I did and watched it. And so I'm sitting there like, when did that happen? I slept for a few hours and it turned red? No. But I don't know, y'all, man. Y'all just got to start paying attention and start thinking. It's not illegal yet, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. We are smarter together, and we have, I don't know why people are openly playing stupid. You get what I'm saying, Switch?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know this is wrong, but you're still going with it? It doesn't make sense to me. And for him talking about the Epstein files, and I was like, I guarantee you, before Trump releases that to the public, he'll make sure that any aspect of him that it was in it is not in it. That's the one thing that'll be missing. What you think, Switch?
No, I mean, I think if that was going to happen, it would have happened. I think the releasing of it and getting him off of it, they would have already did that. But it's kind of hard to I think it's kind of hard for
It
him
exposes
to
more than just him, though.
Yeah, so that's why I think he has it. They haven't did it.
And you know how Trump going. If he go down, he going like Nino Brown. He said, I'm taking everybody with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. People would rather take exposure, take not being exposed over letting an idiot run the country.
Yep.
But in doing that, you create a dictator. A genuine dictator that you haven't seen since you know who. And they said he couldn't do it. But all he had to do was talk to people. I'm not saying his name because we don't want to get no censored or anything like that, because now they censoring everything. But that person in history, all he had to do was have people in a common agreement on something and make them believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is dangerous. And then I heard stuff about them talking about getting rid of habeas corpus. Those that don't know what habeas corpus is, it was something that was only used like during invasions or during war. But it basically says that, to sum it up in layman's terms, that police could take you with no rhyme or reason and no due process, which the one thing that protects us as civilians is due process. But if there's no due process, you could easily get locked up, and it's for quote unquote to help immigration. It's gonna turn into the purge before that happens. Because everybody gonna be walking around strapped up. And North Carolina is an open carry. So the open carry state. I know for a fact, people that ever happens, if they ever are stupid enough to pull that, it's genuinely gonna be a problem. Because they're gonna be like,
All right. Well, when we're talking about these two guys at war,
yeah,
The focus is um what's going to happen afterwards, like what is going to happen afterwards. That's the biggest thing. Um and just seeing what happens. I mean, I think
I think, what do you okay? Let's tell the future again, sweet. From your perspective, what do you think is gonna happen?
I think it's going to go downhill from here. Um I think it's going to get worse for sure. I think a lot of stuff's going to start being revealed because by his statement alone saying that he helped him in by him saying, he's the reason why he got into office, you're opening up a can of worms. You're willing to incriminate yourself to make him suffer. And see, Elon has said many times before, he don't care what people say. He don't care about what people think about what he says. So he feels he can do and say anything, and it's okay if he loses people. Because I mean, they've asked him in the past, well, some of your comments on Twitter or whatever, you don't feel like that might mess with investments. He used a whole reference from The Princess Bride, where the guy, when he finally meets the guy who killed his father, he said, it doesn't matter anything you try to give me or whatever, he does not care. So with the mentality like that, and then you have Trump's
Dangerous.
mentality of, I'm taking you going down with me, that they are going to destroy each other in front of everybody's eyes. Because if this is real and not how they say a distraction, think about the repercussions. Now, you have some people who are just blind, just foolish to believe what's in their face. And they might not take anything from this and still think Trump is a good person, still think Elon's a good person. They're doing what's best for the country, whatever. But think about all the people who watch, like, wait a minute. So it's like, do you really want to tarnish yourselves even more, even though we live in a world now that people don't care? It's like, but is it worth it at this rate? Would you say all that is worth it? Downstairs.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm sorry. Down. I don't care.
So,
So,
ladies and gentlemen, y'all heard that prediction, right? All y'all got to do is just go back and listen to our politics episodes. We've literally prophesized a lot of this stuff. And so,
and speaking of that, I don't know if you've seen what I had sent you. So I can't say this is real because I have not fact checked it. So since I have not fact checked it, I don't want to seem like I'm saying, oh, this is law, and it's not. But what I will say is that it so I saw this thing where it said that TikTok. No, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Sorry. As you can see,
Angelo is making a special guest appearance, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, I know. Just
Kitty.
just don't stop. Won't stop. Rockefeller. I don't know. Anyways,
But what's
what I was
what's the thing
trying
you
to
said?
say, I know, is that it was a lady talking about they went and they did some research for an area in New York. And this
Mhm.
area in New York, I messed up whatever I was doing. This area in New York showed that no one had voted for Harris, but it showed that you had a huge number of Democrats. So when they went there and they did a survey of people and found out a lot of people voted for her, even though it didn't show that she did, they did. They were able to bring in front of a judge who said they would accept the case. So there's a chance that they might have to do count. They might have to do a hand count. So if that happens, that means it can open the door for other states to follow suit, especially if they have areas where numbers look funny. Also,
Mm-hmm.
I saw another video popped up, and like I said, I have not did any research on this. I have not fact checked it, so this could just be hearsay. Where in North Carolina, the same exact thing has happened, where now it's starting to open the door to them relooking at, because you have to have enough evidence. That's one thing, and them having enough evidence to show that, hey, something could have been done here that doesn't make sense. And I mean, it still say you didn't vote, right?
Oh, it just showed up.
That you did vote,
Yeah,
but it took how long? Which made no sense.
3 months. 3 months.
Which made no sense. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of things are going to conspire after, regardless if some kind of way to get this bill passed. If they don't get the bill passed, if those two keep going back and forth online, we are about to see it get real messy in front of our eyes. And we live in an era now where with technology, people just put everything online. So everything that's been happening behind closed doors, it's been escaping, and it's been getting out faster than anything. Like the whole black eye that Elon had, the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing about him having something going on with the other dude's wife, and it's just so much stuff going on, and we're finding out at a very quick rate. So when people say something is a distraction, and we know how fast media travels, whether it's false or true, it's hard to get a lot of distractions past people. The one thing that I can say that's a little off subject, that's a cause for concern with how media is spread to us, is because of AI. You can generate something that can almost look like real news, or something that looks so far fetched that could be real news. So it's kind of hard, I think, for people to really, because it doesn't become a distraction when people figure it out. To me, I feel like it's a distraction when nobody found out until afterwards.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion on it. So when I hear people say, "Oh, they're trying to distract us talking about bananas," we need to look at the apples. Once you see somebody tell you look at the apples, what you gonna do? Keep looking at the bananas and go check out the apples.
Oh, you asking? Of
Yeah,
course you gonna if multiple people keep saying it, then you're gonna naturally draw your attention away from that and go look at the apples.
yeah. So that's why I kind of be a little not up in arms, but everything's not a distraction. Now, some of it is because of the lack of our attention spans and us the desire for drama. But
Yeah.
I think with this, I think it's real. Now, we should be wise to not all of a sudden be like, "Oh, Elon finally has came to his senses." No, he just ain't about to make money like he wants to. And
Mm-mm.
see where it's at.
Because of the choices that he decided to make
Yeah.
against us as a country is messed up in like him in the long run. And like relationships are key in the business that he
Mhm.
does. And for you to just have your business screwed up, of course you're gonna point the finger at the guy that you back to be in those positions. Like it's not supposed to affect you.
He doesn't even go here.
I'm like, you ain't even from here for the record. And I was like, secondly, and this is just me talking about, I just want to say this. The prophecy that I have is this: we're dealing with two men, and neither one of them are afraid to play chicken. and they will crash out and destroy each other before they let either one get the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
These are the men that we're dealing with. And I'll say it once, I'll say it again. That's a dangerous combination when you have a man that knows where your bodies are buried, but you also know his dirt, and he's willing
Mm-hmm.
to tell prime things that got you in a position of power because he was the main one to help get you there. And for the record, him saying that I helped put you in the position that you're in is him openly admitting that he tampered with numbers and he tampered with data to have it placed in his favor.
Because
He
I
just
mean,
openly.
here's the thing. So even with that part, right? So
Mhm.
if this is him, they're just trying to distract us, right? Why would you make that statement? Like, why would you make a statement like that to put eyes on you?
Yeah, because like I said, you're dealing with two people who are not afraid to crash out and destroy each other.
Mm-hmm. So it's like,
And both of their mindsets are saying, I will destroy you in fire and brimstone, and I don't give a damn if I get consumed.
mm-hmm,
This is pretty much, and when you have two people in that mindset that don't care about the people that they're over or the people that they are supposed to be the leader of,
mm-hmm,
that means that they have no fear of the calamity that affects
mm-hmm,
us directly. Because there is calamity with something of that severe nature, a calamity that impacts everybody in the United States.
mm-hmm,
And it don't matter which party you in. It don't. And so I look at it as like we got to be vigilant and we got to be careful and we got to do everything that we can as voters. And I'm telling y'all something. I'm gonna keep saying it. Congress can get voted out every 2 years.
mm-hmm,
Pay attention when they start talking about Congress votes. See, this thing, they don't really talk about it. They'll just put signs up saying vote for who, such and such. But they don't tell you that you should go vote on this day like they do about voting for the president.
mm-hmm,
Because they want it to stay the same. But I'm telling all of y'all, every 2 years, you can vote out Congress. And when you get a hold of Congress, then that puts you in a position to directly impact his decisions. Because all of his decisions have to go through Congress. You can only do but so many executive orders before they get turned over. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
So we have to be smart. Just know every 2 years, your Congress can be voted out.
mm-hmm,
They're expecting you not to pay attention to it. So when year 2 of his presidency comes in, start being on the lookout.
mm-hmm,
Start looking at your Congress, be like, okay, I'm getting this person in, that person getting up out of here, because it is not a lifetime seat, ladies and gentlemen. Don't have them fool you that it's a lifetime seat. The only reason it looks like a lifetime seat, because people don't really know this, that you can vote that person out every 2 years.
mm-hmm.
You just think they're here for a lifetime. No, you can vote them out every 2 years. And I'm telling you, that's part of our arsenal, people. It's part of our arsenal. We pay attention to 4 years, and then we pay attention to every 2 years. Be like, okay, I ain't like how Congress turned out this time. Let me go ahead and just, because then you have to vote again just to make sure your person stays in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, nope, they can stay. Nope, they can go. Nope, they can stay
Mm-hmm.
every 2 years. So don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be fooled. Think. It's not illegal yet. And my prophecy says is that the calamity will be something that,
Mine's a prediction, but okay.
huh?
I said mine's just a prediction, not a prophecy. But okay.
Yeah, but like the calamity that will happen from this will be very severe and it will impact everybody in the United States. And it don't matter what side of the party that you on. I do believe that. Because y'all trying to hold off things to not be exposed yourself. Because I'm pretty sure Trump wasn't the only person on the Epstein list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. And some more important people. And even with Diddy's case, you starting to come to the realization like, hold on, what? Who was there?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that on another episode. But
Yeah. Give me
I've
stuff.
been listening to people that actually have. I've been listening to people who actually have people, because you have to wait in line to get into these cases, and a lot of these people are like getting paid. They get paid like $200 to hold a person's place in line, like a media person or like the media or news people. They pay them $200 or $500 to hold their place in line,
Hmm.
so they can get in on the case and tell us about it. But that's another thing we're going to talk about on another episode. So, people, just pay attention. That's all I'm going to say. Pay attention to what's going on, to what's happening, to what we're talking about, because the prediction that we see have happened, we've been like 95% in the 95 percentiles with a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm telling y'all, go back, listen to our politics per usual. America has a problem episodes, and listen to what we were saying back then. You're gonna be like, God dang. So we have to stay vigilant. Now, I do want to ask, and this is me just asking, sweet fellow host on the Artist and Thinker podcast, what do you think we can do as people in this country, people that are being directly impacted by all of this? What can we do to prepare, or what can we do moving forward?
I mean, I think we've kind of passed. We are kind of past getting ready to do something versus we should already been into something. Um,
Stay ready, ain't never got to get ready.
yeah. I mean, I think if anything, religious folks, you got to take it to the Lord. But
Yes. Yes, Lord.
when it comes to this, we have to be very wise with our dollar, very wise with a lot of moves that we make going into these next couple years, because
Agreed.
we are officially, well, it's beneficial since the election. We're dealing with people who are only focused on making the richer richer. And in doing so, that makes the poor poor. So either you get up and do something or die. I mean, that's just it. So it's like we have to try and navigate with what's been given to us. And I've said before, people that look like you and I, all we have been dealt was hardships to come through and come out of. So I do think there are a lot of people who will come out surviving whatever may happen. But in the same breath, it's just being very cautious of your moves and your surroundings. Like, if you can't already afford to buy a new house, a new car, to go into any kind of debt, look at it like this. If that big new plan or big new bill, big beautiful bill, whatever it's called, goes into effect, your debt that you might have had, maybe accumulated, could almost double with a lot of things that they want to do. Grocery prices are not going down. Not like you think. If they go down, it will only go down if they put laws into place about price gouging,
Mhm.
and effective ones, because there was a bill put from the past administration. There was a bill
Okay.
put in play that didn't pass about price gouging, but unfortunately it did not pass. So say what you want about the other guy.
Mhm.
There were a lot of things that were being done. So that's now it's just to get your popcorn, and like we said we were gonna do before, we're gonna sit back and watch, because
Yep.
we did what we thought was right before. So
Mhm.
I'm done screaming and telling people and pleading my case of why this is that and why this is that. You wanted it, you got it, deal with it. Deal with it.
Facts.
And I mean that's just it's the best one I got.
Okay. And just to close this out, we already said what we were doing as a people, and you can tell how that's impacted the narrative
Mhm.
when you look at the protests that they've had and how you looked at them like, our presence is really missed because they're used to having us at the front lines
Mhm.
of everything and using us as the sacrificial pieces. And at this point, we're like, no, we did our job. We did our job.
Mhm.
We did what we were supposed to, and y'all still didn't support. So now, see how it feels without us. Now, I will say this. I think it's important for us to stay vigilant and do what we can do. Like I told y'all, every 2 years, Congress can be voted out. And we have things that we can do on our end. But for the most part, get your popcorn, watch the show,
Yeah.
and just stay vigilant. And the one thing about us as a people, we've always known how to adapt and overcome
Mhm.
anything, because if we weren't, we wouldn't be here. And I still believe in us over anything that comes with politics or whatever comes what may. I always believe in us.
Mhm.
And I just hope that we believe in us as we should.
Mhm.
And on that note, this is the Artist and the Thinker podcast. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. If you like us, follow us on TikTok at the Artist and Thinker podcast. We also are on Twitter. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Instagram.
Yeah.
So if you like us, subscribe, tune in. We're gonna get our back more hoping on putting live episodes on YouTube. And we will continue to keep putting out great subjects and content.
Mhm.
So we want to thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.
Yeah.